When the next mega hit is discovered in modern video games, early conversations about a sequel or even a franchise are nearly unavoidable. It's getting more typical to think about and prepare sequels before the first game is even released. Society has recently developed a taste for ongoing narrative and serialization. Still, there's something to be said for playing a sequel without realizing it, or when the fact that the game is only a little part of a greater plot sneaks up on you and catches you off guard. Sequels can be pushed up half a year in advance to build anticipation, but they can also be quietly thrown under the rug. 10. Bioshock is a sequel to System Shock. Although the names are a dead giveaway, Bioshock mainly plays like a recreation of Irrational Games' prior PC games, System Shock and System Shock 2. It doesn't hurt that Bioshock director Ken Levine also directs the System Shock series, so you're basically having the same tale presented to you by the same individual. Obviously, there will be some overlap. The Bioshock series may have one of the most stunning and shocking tales ever seen in a video game. Yes, the game is a shooter, but it also has you making philosophical, moral decisions that affect the result of the game, as well as a strong basis based on esoteric authors such as Ayn Rand rather than action filmmakers such as Michael Bay. System Shock may take less of you, but it follows the same formula of you becoming stranded on a ship and attempting to locate survivors through a succession of first-hand narratives. The games even have the same mind-blowing ending twist. 9. College Slam is a sequel to NBA Jam. NBA Jam is one of the most successful arcade games of all time, and when news of finally transferring the sports title to home consoles arose, it made quite a commotion. NBA Jam went on to be ported all around the world, with the title's rapid, intuitive gameplay and exaggerated characters being the best on the market. Furthermore, the game was saturated in personality, such as having your character catch fire under the correct circumstances, or having former President Bill Clinton as a playable character. NBA Jam is one of those great titles that broke the norm, and basketball games have tried to emulate it ever since. While NBA Jam was followed by pseudo-sequels such as NBA Jam Tournament Edition, NBA Jam Extreme, and NBA Hangtime, another title slipped under the radar. 8. Halo is a sequel to Marathon. Halo is widely regarded as one of the most influential video games of all time, at least in the first-person shooter genre. Bungie Software's Xbox exclusive took off like a rocket, with millions of people screaming about headshots over wireless headsets and nearly as many people braving endless lines for midnight releases to play the next game as soon as possible. Halo has made its mark on the gaming world, but Marathon, Bungie's other series of alien-based first-person shooters developed for PC and Macintosh computers, does not receive nearly enough credit. Bungie began its Marathon trilogy of shooters in 1994, and it's almost uncanny how similar they are to the Halo games. 7. Super C Operation C is a sequel to Contra. You've all played Contra, and you've all had the awful Konami code tattooed on your brain at this point. Contra is one of the most relentless run-and-shoot games on the market, and it has enjoyed worldwide success as well as a slew of sequels and spin-offs over the years. Certain Contra installments will introduce new components to the series, such as the game's side-scrolling perspective or weapon system, but they will all follow the same paradigm with a relatively simple story. Almost every Contra sequel makes its link to the series plain, although it's a little perplexing that the initial Contra sequel is known as Super C for its US console release. 6. Killer 7 is a sequel to No More Heroes. You haven't truly experienced video game crazy unless you've played a game produced by Grasshopper Manufacture and directed by the notorious Suda51. It's not a leap to call the man an auteur, since he and his crew have created some of the most innovative and visually stunning games in the last 2 decades. No More Heroes received widespread praise for being an incredibly violent, over-the-top game that was released on the family-friendly Wii system. In the game, you take on the role of Travis Touchdown, armed with his trusty beam katana. 5. Yoshis Story is a sequel to Super Mario World 2. If you're a fan of Mario Timeline canon, you might be astonished at how complicated the Yoshi's Island history has become in recent years. Yoshi's Island DS and Yoshi's New Island, new releases for the DS and 3DS, would add to the franchise and complicate the canon, but were met with mixed reactions. Despite these more recent titles, Yoshi's Story was created as an initial sequel to the Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. It was even released under the title Yoshi's Island 64 for a long time. The same team that created Yoshi's Island also created Yoshi's Story, with Hideki Kono directing and Takashi Tezuka producing. Yoshi's Story dropped the Baby Mario angle, but it doubled down on the Yoshi aspect, with a number of iconic adversaries and places from Super Mario World 2 making an appearance in the N64 successor. Now all you have to do is get that annoying Yoshi tune out of your brain. 4. Resident Evil is a sequel to Sweet Home. What exactly do you mean you've never heard of Sweet Home? It's simply the 8-bit Resident Evil predecessor that Capcom launched for the NES in 1989. Although the Resident Evil series has grown to become one of the most successful video game series of all time, many people are unaware of this intriguing prequel to the franchise. Sweet Home may not take place in Raccoon City or involve Umbrella, but to Capcom's credit, neither does Resident Evil 7. Sweet Home effectively throws you into a mansion where you're being attacked by entities that go bump in the night and have only a limited amount of firepower to defend yourself. 3. Portal is a sequel to Narbacular Drop. This one is a bit of a stretch, but you can readily see how Narbacular Drop might become Portal that it feels important to include it here. Portal is one of those rare video games that is both endlessly easy and excruciatingly difficult. The game depicts you wielding a portal gun as your weapon, but your head is your true weapon here. This game is all about figuring out how to travel from one area to the next by troubleshooting and playing with physics. However, before Valve became the solid corporation that produced Portal, they were a far more motley group of developers known as Nuclear Monkey Software. With its basic Princess in Distress narrative, Nuclear Monkey Software's senior college project resulted in Narbacular Drop, which may not appear to be related to Portal, but the main mechanic of the game involves you creating blue and orange portals to transport things around in a very Portal-like fashion. It might be more accurate to call Narbacular Drop an incredibly early beta for Portal, but how can you have two Portal games produced by the same developers and not comment on them? 2. Dark Souls is a sequel to King's Field. Dark Souls contains the kind of brutal old-school gaming that you lament not seeing anymore, and then you get it and wish you didn't because you've spent a week and a half getting eviscerated in a dungeon. Dark Souls is From Software's ode to retro dungeon crawlers, and while the link between Dark Souls and From Software's previous title, Demon Souls, is obvious, did you know that the company's history with this series dates back to the 1990s? The only difference between Dark Souls and Demon Souls 2 is that Demon Souls was published by Sony, whereas Dark Souls was published by Bandai Namco, thus the subtle name change. However, From Software has been delivering a series known as King's Field since the days of the original PlayStation, which is the same template they've continued to follow up until now. King's Field is more first-person dungeon crawling goodness, complete with a vicious AI system and an apparently infinite supply of demons. Dark Souls is essentially King's Field 6, and it moves along fairly smoothly. 1. Dragon Age is a sequel to Baldur's Gate. Dragon Age is your typical fantasy MMO RPG, where you can easily lose dozens of hours in your second life with whatever campaign you're currently on in the blink of an eye. There are many games of this type, but Dragon Age provides unparalleled depth as you prepare for the ultimate evil and naturally improve your abilities through questing and combat with a variety of classes and races at your disposal. However, before BioWare wowed everyone with Dragon Age, they were working on the eerily similar Baldur's Gate series of RPGs, set within their Forgotten Realms Dungeons and Dragons universe. The only difference between Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age is the graphical improvements, with BioWare's Neverwinter Nights titles serving as a bridge title, passing the torch from one series to the next. However, the gameplay, setting, and aesthetics are all the same. In fact, a number of people online have modded Dragon Age to look like an ultra-updated version of Baldur's Gate, indicating that despite BioWare's desire to distance themselves from the previous titles, gamers clearly do not. Thank you so much for watching. Good day.